My sister's maid of honor humiliated me in her speech and made everyone laugh at me. So, if blood is thicker than water, why did no one stand up for me? I, 27F, was a bridesmaid at my older sister's wedding last week. The wedding was beautiful, and everything seemed perfect until the reception. During the reception, the maid of honor, who has been my sister's best friend since childhood, gave her speech. It was emotional, but then she made a joke about how I was the family screw-up who finally managed to do something right by not messing up my bridesmaid duties. Everyone laughed, but I didn't find it funny. For context, I've had a rough few years. I struggled with my mental health and dropped out of college for a while. I've since gotten my life back on track, but it's still a sensitive topic for me. Hearing that joke in front of all our family and friends wasn't funny at all. My sister's best friend and I never really got along, but I never expected something like this from her, especially since the day wasn't about me at all. So, why bring me up in the speech? I tried to stay composed, but I felt the tears coming, so I quietly left the reception and went outside to collect myself. My sister followed me out and asked what was wrong. When I told her, she said it was just a joke and nothing bad was meant by it. I tried to go back inside, but I just couldn't and ended up leaving the wedding early. My parents understood why I was upset, but my sister is angry with me. I do feel terrible for leaving, but I also feel like I had the right to feel hurt and humiliated. I said nothing at the moment because I didn't want to cause a scene on my sister's special day. I can't reason with her right now because she will just ask me if I haven't been taking my meds lately. That's what she does when she's angry with me. So, I'm giving her some time to maybe realize how her best friend's joke was out of line. Edit. Someone asked me if my sister's best friend and I argued before, or if I gave her a reason to do this. My sister's best friend and I never went past basic pleasantries. She told me before a few years ago that she, in general, doesn't feel comfortable around someone struggling mentally because in her head, God only knows what they're capable of. Since she said this, to this day, I just try to avoid her. Update 1. Thanks to everyone who took the time to comment on my post and gave their advice without being too harsh. I apologize if my update is messy or confusing. The same day I posted, my dad called to check up on me and see if my sister and I had talked things out. When I told him no, he said it's better if we talk about it now and assured me that I have nothing to apologize for. If my sister thinks she has nothing to apologize for, then the least she can do is make her best friend apologize or fully realize that the joke was out of line. By the way, my brother and I met 4 days ago, and he told me that my brother-in-law, aka my sister's husband, didn't like the way the maid of honor called me a screw-up in front of everyone, and some of those who laughed voiced later that they did so out of nervousness. On Monday, my sister called me to talk. When I made it to her place, her best friend was on the phone and didn't put it down for a second. My sister started by saying that just a few years ago, I would have laughed hard and not taken the joke as an insult. I told her that maybe some laughed because they didn't know the reason she called me a screw-up. For context, when I was 16, something happened. And that's why I struggled mentally really badly between 16 to 18. My sister and her best friend both saw me at home when I was still covered in bruises. When I was 17, I was diagnosed with PTSD and later with depression and anxiety. Since then, I don't like it when someone touches my head, especially my hair, the back of my head, or my neck. My sister knows all of this. During our conversation, my sister did most of the talking. At some point, I felt like my sister had called me just to blame me again without trying to understand my perspective. When I tried to talk, she put her hand on the back of my neck and pulled me toward her with each sentence as if to say, "Do you understand?" I hated it and felt irritated. I honestly kept thinking if I pushed her away, would I be in the wrong? Would they just call me mental and tell the family I got physical? I tried to leave, but she insisted that no one was leaving until we sorted this out. She told her best friend to just apologize. She refused and reminded my sister that I was the reason her husband got angry at her on their wedding day because I couldn't take a joke. When I tried to explain why it wasn't simply just a joke to me, she refused to listen and brushed my words off, saying, "Yeah, whatever, sorry." I was glad it was finally over, and as I was about to leave, I heard her say, "Can't take a joke that everyone knows is true." Both of them laughed, but my sister stopped mid-laugh and apologized. I didn't say anything and left. I think I've had enough. I know I've had a few rough years. I dropped out of college for a while, fine, but I've since gotten my life back on track. My parents helped me through it all and never made me feel like a burden. At first, I was on some strong meds that made me feel tired and sleepy most of the time. After a while, I started to feel a little better with therapy and my family's support. During that period, it was me, my parents, and my brother. My sister was 3 hours away for a job and used to visit sometimes, often bringing her best friend along with her. Looking back, I don't want to say she hates me, but I know she felt ashamed to have a family member struggling with mental health issues. I don't know how to explain this. I've made up my mind and decided to go no contact for now. If my parents and my brother, who were there when I was going through it all, never made me feel that they were ashamed of me, then why would she? I'm still on some meds, but feel much better than before. I have a stable job, my own place, and friends who love me for who I am. I can say I'm proud of myself a little. I love my family to the ends of the earth and have tried to maintain a relationship with my sister all these years, but I'm trying to prove myself, not constantly be reminded of what I was a few years ago.